Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing one of the most unique and interesting fragrances on the entire market right now. This is Reckless Leather by the House of Amouage. I've previously talked about fragrances like Silver Oud and King Blue by Amouage, and those are both very challenging due to their funky oud forward note, but Reckless Leather is even more challenging to a lot of people. Reckless Leather is beginning to dry down on the paper, and you are instantly hit with a blast of spices. These spices are not your typical spices. There's a lot of pink pepper, there's a lot of nutmeg, but most of all, although it's not listed, there is a lot of cumin that I get. Although this bottle is very new to my collection, I'd smelled Reckless Leather about a year ago, and it instantly intrigued me. The first thing that came to my mind when I smelled this was a stew. The reason why this perfume is so unique is because it's gourmand, but in a way that I've never seen a fragrance before. When you think of gourmands, you typically think of sweet stuff like vanilla, but there are also a lot of citrus gourmands that people are familiar with. However, Reckless Leather is neither of those. Reckless Leather smells like a stew or a curry simmering. It's so oriental, it's so savory, it's almost mouthwatering to me. The notes of this perfume include pink pepper, galbanum, nutmeg, fenugreek, and cardamom. The heart includes oud, ambroxan, leather, ambergris, and patchouli. And the base includes costus, muscone, frankincense, cypriol, and sandalwood. So this smells absolutely nothing like any of the listed notes. And before I get too far into the scent description, although this perfume is called Reckless Leather, it's not even a leather dominant fragrance in my opinion. Reckless Leather opens up very fresh spicy. I cannot place what spices I'm getting, but if you've walked through a spice market, you get a similar feeling of just getting blasted in the face with spices. Although in here, it's very tame, it's tolerable, and it's blended beautifully. So previously I said that this smells a little bit like a stew or a simmering curry, and one of the reasons I say that is because I'm getting this very odd note. The note that I'm getting is almost like a cooked beef. So this perfume is very savory, it's very spicy, it's really oriental, and is really foreign smelling. The oud and the leather are very toned back, but do give this a little bit of a bitter edge. And every time I smell this, it makes my mouth water because it smells like a simmering stew. A little bit later into the dry down, this interesting sweetness comes off. And the sweetness in this is not coming from fruits, it's not coming from vanilla, but as a matter of fact, it reminds me of a very savory sauce, almost like a duck sauce. So as a very short description, my best way to describe Amouage's Reckless Leather to someone who hasn't smelled it is a simmering stew with duck sauce glaze and an overdose of oriental spices. It's a little bit hard for me to talk more about the fragrance just because it's so unique and this is something you need to smell for yourself, but despite its uniqueness, I think that's a pretty good explanation. If I really wanted to, I could delve into the opening, the mid, and the base, but to be honest, this doesn't change too much, and what I get throughout the entire fragrance is this sweet, savory, and spicy simmering curry or stew with a touch of bitterness and lots of oriental spices. Honestly, to me, this smells very similar to walking into an Indian restaurant. That sweetness, spice, and savoriness coming all together, that is very similar to what this smells like. And there's also a very gorgeous salty edge coming from that ambergris, which rounds everything out to me. Now, honestly, this is something that I don't even want to talk about more because you really need to sample yourself. So I'm kind of done talking about the scent profile itself, but one thing people may be curious about is how it compares to Silver Oud or King Blue. I don't have a bottle of that, but I've smelled it a bunch of times. As I said, Reckless Leather is one of the most unique perfumes I've ever smelled, so these are nothing alike, not even close. But what I want to compare is their wearability. Both of these are very challenging perfumes, they're not for beginner noses, and these appeal to a very small amount of people. As a quick refresher, Amouage's Silver Oud, smoky, birchy, animalic, castoreum and oud perfume with 16 hours longevity and massive projection. The oud and the castoreum combo in this really put a lot of people off. So realistically, although this is one of the most impressive perfumes I've ever smelled, I would have to give this a 3 out of 10 on mass appeal. Now, funny enough, although Reckless Leather as a scent profile is much more wearable to me, it is so savory and it is so spicy, especially with that cumin note that isn't listed but is very prominent. I honestly think people will be more worried to wear Reckless Leather because to a lot of people, especially in the West, when people smell cumin, they think of body odor. However, if you're anywhere else in the world, I think Reckless Leather is a perfectly acceptable perfume. Same with Silver Oud too, as long as you don't spray too much. But I would say realistically, these are both a 3 or a 4 on mass appeal. Amouage as a brand is very unapologetic and pretty artistic with their perfumes, and especially in their library collection, they do not care about what people say about their perfumes. And with that being said, Reckless Leather is a masterpiece to me. It's extremely unique, it's so well blended, and it lasts about 12 hours on my skin. The one thing about Reckless Leather is that the sillage is very tolerable. Although the scent profile is very challenging, especially up close as with a lot of Amouages, in the air, this is spicy and oriental, it's sweet, it's beautifully perfumed, and it's not too strong. If you don't know me, Amouage's library collection is my favorite collection of perfumes of all time, and I really do love every single one of them. If I had to give this a rating, it would be a 9.9 out of 10. Its blend, its uniqueness, its performance, and just how much it speaks to me really wants to make me put this at a 10. And the only issue I have with this perfume is that, especially where I live, it's a little bit difficult to find places to wear it. With that being said though, Amouage's Reckless Leather is one of the least talked about perfumes, not just from Amouage but in general. And to me, if you only had the option to sample one perfume from Amouage's library collection, it is so incredibly hard for me to choose, but I think that Reckless Leather is the best option. Reckless Leather really shows the uniqueness of that line without being too overwhelming like King Blue, Silver Oud, or Royal Tobacco. This is a gorgeous fragrance. I really recommend you sample it. Thank you for watching, and I have a lot more Amouage videos coming up. Bye.